Yeah, so I mean, a mad week in Gaelic football. There was a hurling final, also another club final which took place. Ballyhale Shamrocks coming out on top against Dunloy. A closer game than I expected, though, I do have to say.
Yep, look, and particularly, the first half as well, I think mostly, and there was that stage, I think, in the second half, up to maybe about 45 minutes, when you kind of looked at it when they Dunloy got back to 1 point at one stage at 45 minutes, and you thought, Jesus, it might actually be on here a bit, but I think, look, at the end, I think it probably went how most people predicted, in that experience and squad quality, I think, got them over the line a little bit. Look, Ballyhale weren't at their best. Like, they've played way better than that before. I think they missed Adrian Mullen a lot as well, actually, too. That I think
Yeah.
his influence really showed. I think, like, him being lacking from that, being missing from that team as well, that just the creativity that he brings as well. I think he's been really a key part in making them tick a little bit. So I thought they kind of struggled a little bit more. Their deliveries into the full forward line, I thought, struggled a little bit more, and there was just not quite as fluid without Mullen as well. But, like, at the same time as well, I do think, like, as even when Dunloy were getting it back to 2 points to 1 point as well, there was this feeling that Dunloy were killing themselves for scores, that they were having to work their arses off for a score, and then the ball would go, it'd be a puck out for Ballyhale, hit out straight away. Either TJ would win it, on Cody would get out in front and just tap it over as well. And it just seemed to be that, like, Ballyhale, they just had that bit more quality as well. And whereas Dunloy, like, they needed Keelan Malloy to do something magic or something like that as well. And yeah, look, it was a really brave effort from Dunloy, and, like, they were given no chance whatsoever going in. And look, some people were talking about whether it could have been like a 15-point win to Ballyhale as well. And look, Dunloy they come out with that with huge credit. They gave them a fair old test and a good old scare, I think, in the second half too. And yeah, but look, I suppose class shows in the end as well. And look, that Ballyhale side, like, in a couple of years as well, it's going to be up there as one of the greatest club hurling sides of all time, I think, if not the best
Not
as
the
well.
greatest, yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like the record speaks for themselves, and barring a kind of an absolute unbelievable goal last year as well, like, they've absolutely dominated club hurling for the last couple of years as well. So it was an almighty test for Dunloy, but they come out of it with a good bit of credit. But look, at the end of the day, there was an All-Ireland there to be won, and Ballyhale win it comfortably in the end, I suppose, 6 or 7 points in the end. So, like, that's the thing, is like, a job done, I suppose, in the end. Their finals there to be won.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, you mentioned about Owen Cody. What a performance from him, completely leading the way. TJ as well, one of the best players that we've ever seen, I think it's fair to say. The fact that they beat Ballygunner in the semi-final this year, they beat them by 3 points, a very complete performance on the day, and now that they've got the job done in the final, would that be extra sweet, do you think, that they've come back and kind of put right the wrongs of last year, if you like?
Yeah, well, I think so, and I think that Ballygunner game, that was nearly, there was a feeling that was the All Ireland final, I think, and that the Thomas game that went on as well, and I think people thought if St. Thomas got through as well, look, Ballyhale would have dispatched them fairly comfortably too. I think they would have I think it would have been a complete mismatch if it was Thomas. Actually, I think it was just as well that Dunloy got through. So, like, the thing is, I think there was that feeling that the Ballygunner game was the All Ireland final, and to be honest, look, without Stephen O'Keefe, they would have won that game quite happily, I think, in the end. Yeah, it was an absolute tussle of a game as well. But I do think that, barring some miraculous saves, they could have won that by about 7 or 8 points in the end. So they would be definitely satisfied with how they played in that game. I think that was their most complete performance of the year in the club championship as well. Like, again, Adrian Mullen being around midfield pulling the strings there is a big factor in that too. But, like, that's the thing, is that I do think it is a pretty satisfying one as well, especially considering last year's final, I think they did enough to win that game. And look, Harry Ruddle's goal as well kind of gives it that smash and grab kind of feel. So that's the thing, is when you're on the receiving end of a smash and grab, to come back from that as well, it does have to be very, very satisfying, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, like let's not beat around the bush. The way they lost the final last year was heartbreaking. I mean, like I've never seen a more cruel way of losing. I mean, that shot from Harry Ruddle that goes an inch to the left, it hits the post, and Ballyhale win the All Ireland that year was so last minute. I mean, it was a breathtaking victory for Ballygunner. I mean, what a goal from Harry Ruddle. But yeah, probably all the more sweeter that they've managed to come back and win this game. Obviously, we mentioned about Dunloy's performance, how brave it was. Keelan Malloy, outstanding. Conal Cunning, brilliant as well. Just, they've had an amazing year. I mean, first beating Slough-Neil up in Ulster, who had been, a massive barrier for them to get past, and then taking out St. Thomas's in the semi-final, which was a surprise, and then putting up a performance like this in the All-Ireland final against Ballyhale. To me, it's not only a victory for Dunloy to get here and to put in a performance like that, but it's a real indicator of progress for Antrim hurling.
Oh, big time it is, yeah. And that's the thing, is that Dunloy probably weren't getting the credit that they should have been getting before, and that they beat that Slough-Neil side that like that have been so good and dominating Ulster for the last couple of years as well. You see Slough-Neil, what they did last year to Ballygunner, the scare they gave Ballygunner last year, and to go turn around the following year after Slough-Neil have beaten them for a few years in a row, to beat them then as well. I think, look, they probably should have got a bit more credit. They were going into that Thomas game as underdogs, despite them showing that kind of level of form, and St. Thomas is not really demonstrating much form at all. I think they probably should have went into it as favourites. But that's the thing, is that, look, on the day, I thought they completely outplayed Thomas's. I thought they were brilliant that day. I think, like, you mentioned some of those players as well, the likes of Shan Elliott, Ryan Elliott as well. They've got a great contingent of that Antrim side that have given us so much entertainment, particularly in the National League the last couple of years. I think Antrim hurling has caused like real excitement, I think, all across the country as well. Some of the results they pulled off, you remember them beating Clare and stuff in the league, and that league campaign they've had, and look, they're absolutely going in the right direction as well. A day in the All Ireland final, look, is really great for them as well. But they have that proud history up there as well in Antrim, that they have had teams. They've had, look, you talk about Ulster teams as well, Ballyhale Shamrocks and stuff, their history up there as well. They produce these great club sides. And so to have an Ulster side in there as well, up there competing again, it is great to see. They are, look, but let's be realistic, they are a good bit off Ballyhale, but there's no shame in that, considering, I think, look, a Ballyhale side where you've a fit Adrian Mullen, even if you had a fit Darren Mullen as well back in there too, I think, look, they are just that bit better than everyone else in the country. But I think they should be proud of, particularly the first 50 minutes, how they kept toe to toe, when, especially, I think, if in the first half at certain stages, I thought that it really looked like it was going to run away from them at times, that Cody was just he was picking up these pockets as well. He was hitting scores for fun in particular, and there was this kind of risk that I thought that it was going to run away from them as well. A few goal chances were starting to pop up for Ballyhale as well. And for them to dig in and as well get in only 2 points down at half time as well, push on half time, like, they do deserve huge credit.
Yeah, without doubt.